Okay, good morning all. This is Sardar. Welcome to CUTLER Webinar 8 regarding the CUTLER platform to support evidence-based urban policy making. Today, I'm going to talk about how we're going to integrate everything that we have seen up to now. So I am representing Sampash Holding. Sampash Holding is a smart city solution provider and very linked with policy making issues in local government for the last 40 years here in Turkey. And we have been delving with these type of governance solutions for so many years. So up to now, actually what we have seen for the last 2 months is discussing about different perspectives of our CUTLER project, starting from the legal issues surrounded on the policy making processes, then how we model decision-making processes using business process models. And also then we have delved into big data crawling, heterogeneous data set management, how we're going to visualize these big data sets in big data visualization environments. And we have discussed several different solutions in order to understand the economic, environmental, and social impacts of this platform. Today, what we're going to do is to integrate everything together, actually. So let's start. This webinar is live streamed through Facebook/CUTLER H2020/live, and we are already recording this session, and you can also reach later on through different channels like YouTube, Facebook, and also our CUTLER website. So please mute your microphones and switch off your cameras during the meeting. You can write your questions to the chat environment and raise your virtual hands. We'll have a Q&A session at the end, and we'll be happy to discuss everything together. So I am a computer scientist, and I had my BS, master's, and PhD studies in computer science. And for the last 20 years, I have delved into different domains and different sectors, including telecommunications, finance. But for more than 10 years' time, I have been working very deeply with smart cities and governance type of solutions. So this CUTLER platform at the end is a very important outcome that we'll be using from now on also for our cities. And my academic background comes from the machine learning and time series forecasting side. So today I'm gonna discuss about how we are integrating everything together. So the general agenda will be in 3 main parts, I can say. First, the platform and the architecture. I will be discussing about the technologies that we have used, the general architecture of the CUTLER platform. Then also how we have integrated everything under the CUTLER front end. The second part will be regarding, we have seen several different processes for our cities up to now during the second webinar, but we haven't seen that how we are going to use it. So I'll be showing you how we will be designing all these processes into our platform and how we will be linking them with the IAMER processes, actually, with the IAMER steps very easily. Within a real-time example for flood protection measures in Vicenza. So then we will be seeing the evidence-based urban policy making. So we have seen the process has been designed, and the dashboards are assigned to different facets of them, linked, and we have an altogether picture. But how the policymakers will use it, how they can go from intuition-based approach to an evidence-based approach in urban policy making. Then we will see 2 different approaches: flood protection in Vicenza and also optimized patrol routes in Thessaloniki. Then we will continue with different aspects of the platform. So in a nutshell, what we have discussed up to now for the last 2 months within different webinar series is the CUTLER's showing its ability, how it assists policymakers in urban development policies for coastal cities. Today I will show you coastal cities approaches for different pilot cases, but you will see at the end that this is applicable for all sorts of policies, actually, for our local governments. How CUTLER exploits data sets and use big data technologies. How decision-making processes can be modeled using standardized notations. We will be using business process management notations, which is an international standard already. And how CUTLER is already a resiliency lens to balance the economic growth, environmental impact protection, and also citizen well-being. So you have seen this concept several times, showing 5 different cases, cities, pilots that we have done in Thessaloniki, Antalya, Cork, Antwerp, and Vicenza, and how we linked and sensed different historical, real-time, and open data sets from statistic information, from sensor networks, from user contribution networks like social media, and how we analyze the big data impact from economic activities, from social consequences and environmental impact, and how we modeled them using a business process management approach. But if you look from a different perspective, data has been handled from economic, environment, and social perspectives, and you have seen different tools and dashboards developed for these purposes up to now. And data collection, heterogeneous data management, cloud management, big data analytics, visualization has already been covered. Business process management has already been covered, and processes has already been designed. But we haven't seen that how we are linking all these together under a policy management framework, under an application framework. Actually, we haven't seen. Today we'll delve into all these. The first thing that I would like to talk about is the technologies that we used. So CUTLER architecture is a flexible and scalable architecture. I will show in a minute right now, but the technology is also supporting that idea. From the big data collection, pre-processing, and integrating this data to other components is a very important layer that we used Apache Kafka, a very popular framework created under LinkedIn and is right now being used all over the world for messaging between the platform components. So we have also used Apache Kafka for this purpose. For big data storage and processing, we do have 2 different tool sets. Elasticsearch, actually a very popular real-time data management and index management framework to ease our life for big data storage and also indexing and querying purposes. And also Hadoop and its extensions, both for storage and processing for this data. From the visualization and business process management perspective, we do have used 2 very popular frameworks. Again, Kibana, which is very linked with Elastic for big data visualization, for visualizing our data sets in several different formats, not only with simple bar charts, but using JS layers, using complex charts and graphics also, and interact in an interactive way. From the business process management perspective, as I mentioned, we have already defined our processes together with our CTs and also consultants. But this was on paper. This has to go onto a standardized notation. Then on that perspective, we have used business process management notation designed by OMG Group, Object Management Group internationally. Camunda is one of the very popular BPM management, modeling, management, and also integration tools. Here we have conducted Camunda for our integration layer also. So how these lay in our architecture? As I mentioned, CUTLER has a 3-leveled architecture. On the left-hand side, you see a blue rectangle, which includes the big data collection, pre-processing, and integration side. From the collections, we have sensors, we do have different crawlers, and also we do have different analyzers developed under to analyze the economic impact, to analyze the environmental solutions and its consequences, and also the social outcomes. All these data sets and all these extracted value is integrated with the other part of the platform, to the storage side and the processing side mainly, is done using Apache Kafka, as I mentioned. Apache Kafka allows us to exchange messages and data sets between our components. On the big data storage and processing side, the main components are the Hadoop for big data processing, Elasticsearch indexing, and our BPM engine, actually Camunda, to manage all this stuff. And on the visualization side, what our end users see are an interactive framework, interactive front end, a BPM and modular tool, and also big data visualizations. So how we are bringing everything together? This is what we call a front end application that integrates all different components. This allows us to manage our policies first. So we allow city authorities, policymakers to define and design their policies under this web platform that I'm gonna show you in a couple of minutes time. Then it has to be linked with the processes because we do have defined processes and how we need to deploy these into a system. So we are using an integrated BPM server, common BPM server here for process management and linking it with our IAMER steps and processes. IAMER is inform, advise, monitoring, evaluating, and revising all our policies and processes. A process design tool. So you may have a process, but if it is not integrated with your legacy system, if it is not integrated with your evidences, with your dashboards, with your widgets, then this will not work for you. This will be a broken link. So we are using an integrated Kibana approach. We have developed a specific tool there, a process design tool, to link different processes, tasks with relevant dashboards. Messaging between components is being done using Apache Kafka. So this front end allows you to define different user groups and manage your users under your city authority very easily. This will also allow you to see the activities of your users. So how the policy making process goes on. So which policymakers uses which aspects of it. So on which phase you do spend more time or you face with issues. So you can understand all these things through behind analytics in our system already. So it can easily be configured. But another important aspect for us is we do have a scalable, cloud-based, a multilingual environment, a multilingual platform that allows us, our policymakers, use this front-end application in their own languages, because most of the times we have seen that in different countries, policymakers working in different departments of the cities and public authorities may not be able to use in English for the whole platform. So then you need to support different languages. Our platform right now supports Greek, Turkish, Dutch, Italian, and it can be extensible for different languages also. So I would like to talk about features of the platform mainly, and also three different types of roles. First of all, roles. So when you do your policies, there are politicians, there are managers or directors in your cities, and also different departments and policymakers involved in decision-making and policy-making processes. Here we define first a pilot administrator, one pilot administrator for each city in order to configure the environment, in order to manage the application actually. This is most of the time a technical body, a technical colleague in your city who configures the application for the rest of the people. So this, most of the time, pilot administrators do their job once and don't interfere a lot within the running system. The second different role is the data scientist, which we call is the configurator, we can say, or the designer, let's say. You need to design your processes. You need to write down your processes on paper, then digitalize it and standardize it under a BPM and notation, business process management notation, then apply different parameters on top of it and link it with your dashboards within the platform. So what data scientists, what a designer does is to take your business processes, model them, take it into the platform, integrate it into the platform easily without coding, and link it with different dashboards by using drag and drop approach actually. So it's a very easy job for designers to drag and drop different dashboards or click for different dashboards and link them with different parts of their processes. The third user and the main users are the policymakers. So who will implement the policies, who will initiate a policy and conduct different steps of the policy, including getting information, including getting advice, and including giving a decision, and then starting to monitor the effects, the impact of their policies, and evaluate the results of the policies, outcomes, and also revise if required. So those are policymakers who only goes into the system, sees their policies, initiate a process among already configured ones, already designed ones, and then conduct and implement their policies. So this platform provides you a multi-tenant environment, which means that you can easily start to use through a cloud environment and have several municipalities on the same environment. It is integrated with the big data visualization site seamlessly. It is integrated with the business process management, the BPMs that you have created seamlessly. It allows you to easily design through the process design tool, and it integrates all different components using Kafka messaging infrastructure. So you will see a menu like on the left, which allows you to see policies, process design, statistics, user management, and settings management. Among these, settings management, user management, and statistics are administration type of issues. So those are allowed for the pilot administrators to see and manage. So any designer, any process designer, any data scientist, or any policymaker does not have any issue to do with them. So they will only see policies and process design in their environments when they log in. So I'll show you with different end users how they see the platform and what sort of capabilities they can use among management, PPM modeling, process design, policies, and task management perspectives. So you will see in the platform policy screens, process design environments, how the IAMER facets, how the processes and tasks move on a step-by-step wise, how you design using existing widgets and dashboards, and how you implement your processes using detailed tasks, and also an analytics on top of them. So how you use the platform, what did you get out of the platform actually? So this platform is right now already running on cloud for 5 different cities: Cork County, Antwerp, Thessaloniki, Antalya, and Vicenza. Let's go and see for one of these cities. So we will be going for Vicenza first of all. So this is the Vicenza area where we would like to have a policy for flood protection measures, because Vicenza is under risk for floods regarding the main river there, and also this is a long policy that they have been working for several times, and we'll be delving into them. First of all, I'm gonna log in with a pilot administrator user. So in Vicenza, consider that you do have one pilot administrator, and when she or he logs in, what you will see first, the already designed policies. The policy screen will come first for you. So you will see 2 policies, one actually in English and the other one in Italian. I'll tell you why very quickly for the same one, for 2 different type of users. First of all, you do have a menu on the left side that allows you to navigate quickly for your policies, to go to process design, to go to settings, and user management and statistics. You can hide and see this menu very easily. Another important feature is most of our policymakers in Italy does not speak in English. So this tool has to support Italian language also, the local language. And this is how easy you do it. You select on right top of the menu 2 languages, English and Italiano, and all the menus are automatically turned into Italian. Then you can also have user management here for your user, for resending your password or logging out. So how this system works in 2 different languages. Let me come back to English quickly again. So on the left-hand menu, the first thing that you should see is the settings. Settings is used for configuring the server parameters for Kibana, for BPM, and that sort of stuff. And what is another important is language. So these are the languages that are supported here in this platform. English and Italian is activated, but you can easily activate Dutch, Greek, and other languages and extend this as well. From the user management perspective, I have defined 3 different groups, as you may remember. These are pilot administrators, data scientists, and policymakers. You can create subgroups under these domains and manage different set of users. Here we do have around 20 different users in Italy, and most of them are policymakers. As you see under policymakers group, we do have pilot administrators, and also we do have data scientists. Giorgio Pantalona is a data scientist, is a designer, and the rest will be acting as the policymakers for our. So administrator has all credentials to see what's going on, but administrators don't design anything. They can go to the design stage, see the environment here, but administrators only manage user groups, statistics, and the other side. From the statistics perspective, administrators can get insight about the platform usage also. If you click the user statistics side as an administrator, you will see the list of your users, first of all, their groups, and then their IPs that logged in lately, their email addresses. And if you click the details, for example, for the admin user, what admin has done up to now, so you will see a screen that allows you to get lots of information on what admin does within this platform. So there are 265 entries that the admin user have done in different time periods. So you can also check which page that admin has visited and how many times, and also how long the user spent in different pages. And you can easily understand what role he's doing, whether he has an issue or not, which policies he spent more time, and which policies he has moved, which tasks he has worked on, which phases he has spent. So you can see all those details. Under the page statistics, right now you will see, we have seen from user perspective. This is from the page perspective. So all the users are aggregated, and I can have an analysis of my page and try to understand my platform usage easily. Okay, this will bring data for our page, how many times they have been used. And also I can see all these things within a visualization environment also quickly as an administrator. Right now we have only delved into our platform and see statistics and user management, and this is the usage for the last a couple of minutes that we have been doing for our user sets. If I go, for example, for 15 weeks time period, for example, I will see more data for sure. As you see, different usages and in which states I have spent time, which policies I have used. So you can analyze all these very quickly and easily. So we have seen the platform. Let's move on and try to see, as we have described, how these business processes are linked within our platform. So front-end application we have covered. We will go for the process design. For the process design, we do have our front-end application, this users screens images. These are linked with the business process management servers, common REST APIs, and this will allows us to get processes, tasks, and integrate with them. And also this is integrated, seamlessly integrated with the big data visualization side also. Then after designing our process and linking it our policy and different tasks, we will delve into the policy making side as a policy user on the third step, and try to understand how processes are linked with policies, how tasks are designed, and how we will implement our policies within this manner. Okay, process design. For the process design side, on the second stage of our webinar, we will see a couple of different applications, a couple of different tools. First of all, we will see a process modeler, where we design and model our business processes from scratch or import an already existing model. Then we will deploy this to a business process management engine. Business process management engines allows us to manage the processes on the server side, and it allows us to link it with our front-end application. We will see how these are linked and integrated with the CUTLER application, and we'll see process management and administration side. Remember, we discussed about flood protection in Vicenza. So Vicenza is a UNESCO protected cultural and artistic heritage area, actually. There are lots of heritage sites there, and it is a vibrant economic center. But there is a risk there. The city authority is trying to address for several years is the vulnerability to floods. Due to the presence of the Baciglione River and its tributaries, this area is having lots of floods, and past floods have showed that it has caused even human losses, and unfortunately, and also millions of euros of economic damages for this area. So for this purpose, Vicenza public authority is working on a policy which CUTLER will help them for allowing them to have informed decisions for the development of a flood risk reduction measure, a defensive measure. So if we're gonna develop or deploy a retarding basin, which is called the Basin of Caldonio, that will allow to block, let's say, the impact of the flood for a period of time, and then allows the city to manage it inside, then this will allow us to have flood protection measures, and we would like to see the effects of it. So whether this protection measure, this basin is the right choice, whether its location is the right choice, and what sort of impact we will have at the end. Because this city is an economic center, so these floods have results and consequences for human losses, for economic damage, for the historical sites, for the transportation network, for the social activities, for the nature, for everything actually. So let's see this process. We have already covered these processes during our second webinar, but let's see how we're going to design this process. First of all, as a data scientist and as a designer in Vicenza, we will remember the process decided within the organization. These processes has been configured out together with process consultants within our team and the city authorities, and it has done through an agile manner, having different sprints and different iterations on top of it. And at the end, we cover the business process for this problem, for this policy. Then we will see what sort of data sets have been used. The widgets and dashboards have been prepared for Vicenza in order to understand the past floods, in order to understand the economic activities in the area, several GIS data sets, and also how we will be monitoring and evaluating these within different perspectives using KPIs. Then we will design and deploy our process. We will have a process already deployed in our Camunda business process management server, but how to link it with our dashboards, how to link it with our IAMER steps, and how to link it with our front end, we will check it through the front end environment and integrate it all together. So you may remember this figure. Let me open this in our modeler. Okay, we are using Camunda modular application. This is a standalone application, which is a very easy to use and light application that you can understand how to design a process easily. This supports international standards, business process management notation, BPMN 2.0 applications, and you can quickly check and read how it is being done. So how you design it, either you start from a scratch process or you can import it. So this tool allows you to model your process easily. The rectangle boxes, let me zoom a bit, shows you your tasks. Okay, and this human inside the task says that this is an human task, which allows you to interact with that task. So designing a task within this tool is very easy by dragging and dropping these tool palettes here. For example, this is a task, as I mentioned. I would like to create a task. Either I can put a task in a blank environment, or either I can take this task and link it, for example, in our system. You see, I have put that task between number 3, get introduction to retarding basin of Caledonia task, and the decision fork. So this is how it's easy that you design your tasks. Then you give a name for it, new task, for example, and then continue your work on top of it. So I'm gonna delete it right now. This tool allows you to actually design other things, such as decision forks. This cross here allows you to have two separate paths. Actually, this asks the user a question, and then it allows the user to decide which path that they would like to follow, either to continue and finalize the planning, or either to come back and then check information about the basin and do it again. So this business process tells us easily, very easily, we would like to get, first of all, information about our flood risk and hazards. And if I check the name of it, here there's the name of it, and it is assigned to policymakers. So easily all policymakers can see it. And also I do have its face here, right, written inform. This will tell me that in our environment, this will be seen under the inform stage, and I will continue with that. Second time, we will go for getting information about the flood management plans and procedures, and getting information about the retarding basin. Then this system step by step advise me regarding the economic, environment, and social impacts of it, and allows me to assess these impacts, and allows me to have a decision on top of these here. And then if I'm happy with these, I will go for building this basin and start a monitoring period. This monitoring period can depend on your process. Sometimes a policy can take a week for you, or sometimes it can take years of time for you to understand. For a basin to be effective or not, you need to have at least months and seasons past to see different floods on top of it, and also different weather conditions, and monitor the impact from its economic side, its environmental side, and its social perspectives, and then evaluate your KPIs accordingly. This is what we're gonna do briefly in our tool. The second thing that you, after designing your process here, is deploying it. It's just clicking to the deploy button and sending it to our deploy server. So I'm gonna show you how it is deployed. So this is our deployment server, business process management deployment server. Basically, this says that, this cockpit says me that there are 2 different processes here, and 26 different instances have been already initiated. Let's give a look for them. So there are 2 different processes, which we will see in our front-end environment also, called retarding basin Italian and version 2. And I can easily basically understand that I do have 7 and 19 running instances. And even I click on this one, I can see quickly in which step I do have running instances of this policy. So there are several policymakers that can run the same policy on behalf of the city authority and check the evaluation measures. And I can easily see that there are 11 initiated processes that is being held on the first task. There is another one which is getting information about the basin. There are also others have moved on to the monitoring stage, and also under the evaluation stage also I do have several processes. So we have already seen our business process and deployed it into our business process management server. The second thing is to integrate this into our platform and integrate it with our dashboards. What sort of data sets we have used up to now for this one? You have seen these in also other webinars, the historical data from fast floods incidents in Vicenza, the hydrometeorological monitoring network, having information from there, and real-time information from weather conditions, rainfall measures, hydraulic risk maps. There are lots of GIS maps and hazard maps and risk maps that has to be considered, including the river network, railways, roads, buildings, public buildings, schools, commercial activities, historical areas. So all these has to be understood. For all of these, there are already developed dashboards. So these tens of different dashboards and widgets shows us different maps that have been prepared for Vicenza, but they are not managed under a process right now. They are not managed under a policy. So you can try to see one of it one by one, go to check the hazard map, but it doesn't mean that you're following a step-by-step procedure for your policy making. It doesn't mean that you're following a process. So our tool allows you to integrate all these into the same environment. So let's see how we do it. So we do have dashboards, we do have the processes, and we do have the problem. Let's go to our pilot. Okay. Remember, I logged in as an admin for the previous one. I'm going to log in again and show you all the menu. Right now, I'm going to log out. And as I am taking the role of the designer, my Giorgio Pantona at ETGR user is a data scientist, is a designer. I'm going to log in as a designer right now. As you see, I do have two menus right now because designers are allowed to create policies here by adding a new policy or either edit and delete existing policies. We do have two policies, the same one actually, one in English and one in Italian. I'm going to use the English one here. This is for the planning of a structural measure. This is for the planning of a basin of Caldonio, whether to build it or not, or how we should do it. So this is very important. This is a very important measure for the flood risk in Vicenza. And our goal is to understand its effect, its impact in different perspectives by checking heterogeneous data sets, actually, and then go for it. So, but this haven't been designed yet. So let me see how I can design. On the process design tool, on the menu, you click the process design and you see two processes that have been deployed to our process server. Remember, we had two process servers here, two processes here, retarding basin eta and retarding basin version 2. So if I come back to my process list, this is automatically integrated with the business process management server and lists you to existing and available processes. So I'm gonna work over version 2. If I select version 2, the first thing that I should do is to link this process with a policy. I may have several different policies. Here we do have two policies, as you remember, one English, one Italian. So I'm linking this with the English one. So I'm saying here, basically, this process is belonging to this policy. Then it lists me 8 different tasks that I have seen in my modeler. So let me show you my model again. These are the tasks that you see here. Okay, starting from number 1, number 2, number 3. This is automatically deployed to our business process management server, and our front end, which is seamlessly integrated with the BPM side, lists all these processes for us, all these tasks for us under the process, and their descriptions and their assignees. What I need to do is to right now go one by one for each of these tasks and link it with existing dashboards or widgets. Here we provide a tool, a process design, a drag and drop or easily one-time click tool that allows you to either create your own dashboards from existing widgets. The ones written dashboard in the type is already a dashboard of widgets prepared for you previously. And the ones with different names like map, markdown, and table are different widgets that you can consume and use separately. So maps include different maps, as you may easily identify, GIS based applications and lists of data in tables and so many other stuff. You may have two different approaches. Either select one of the dashboards, then it will disable the rest because you can assign a single dashboard as a whole widget group to a task. Or if you want to design your specific dashboard here by selecting different widgets, you can do it the other way also. But with checking the name, you didn't understand what this means. So what it is, obtaining general information about flood management. So you can quickly preview the dashboard by clicking preview, and it will bring you the dashboard that you would like to work on. Obtaining general information about flood management. Okay, this one is the one that I'm gonna link with this task. Okay, then the only thing that you should do is to clicking save here. Okay. So I'm gonna come back to our process design. Select my process again. For all of these tasks, we need to assign either a dashboard, if it is a dashboard like this one, or a couple of number of widgets to be used within this task. All tasks are right now being linked with one of our dashboards or one of our widgets, and we will be able to consume it. Here below, you can see the full picture of each task, each step one by one, loaded through different dashboards, and you can try to understand the whole scenario quickly from the design stage also. You can also, if you forget about this thing and which dashboard were used here, you can quickly preview the dashboards and easily by dragging and dropping and by clicking assign several different widgets and dashboards that have been already created through your legacy systems, through your visualization environments within this policymaking platform. This is the thing that a designer has to do. So there is no coding, no detailed technical stuff, just selecting your business process, give some names to that, deploying it, and linking it with different dashboards for each of these steps. Each step has a different dashboard, as you see. So a process designer has to create all these for us and then finalize its job. If you have more than one process, you need to do the same. This is the Italian version of it for all of it. If a task hasn't been assigned a dashboard, you will see it as red. So it will guide, the tool is also guiding you on what to do actually for these processes. Right now, we do have our processes already designed. How you do understand? So if you go to policies, you will see the policy description and process list and editing and deleting of it. So your job is done. You have designed your process. Right now, we need to go and see how policymakers use it. This part is totally for process designing, and as you see how we easily manage these processes. The third step right now that we have to see is how policymakers will come into the game, how they will employ themselves and implement their policies, how they can create policy-specific dashboards using these. So we will log into the system as a policymaker, as a different user in a department in Vicenza, and later on in Thessaloniki, see the policies, already created policies for us, initiate the process, because the process has already been designed for us, and we will first get extensive and historical information about our policy measures, such as past data for flooding, GIS data for economic activities, environment, social data sets, the railway network, all this stuff, and social information. Then we'll get data for advice to decide this sustainable positive feedback regarding this basin building, whether to build it or not. And then we will start to monitor our systems to understand its effect for our policy taken, for our decision. And then we will evaluate our system using several different KPI measures and revise our policy measures and parameters if required. Actually, so let's see how this is done. First, so you remember our flood protection process. We have already created our BPM, deployed it, designed it. Right now, as a policymaker, we need to go and use the system. Again, I'm going to log in to the platform, this time using the Gmail account as a policymaker, as a third user. Right now, I'm a policymaker. As you see, I can use the language capabilities again. But the only thing that I see is the policies. So this doesn't allow me to create users, or this doesn't allow me to design something. So a policymaker has to deal with only his or her policy. So what I can do, I see my policies, existing policies, that I can initiate a process or see existing already initiated processes or completed processes. First of all, if I check the process list, this shows me already initiated processes in different time periods. For example, in October, November, today, there are some completed processes that have been finalized. Even I can check all processes or the processes that I have created. So there may be tens of different processes and instances running at the same time, which may have an ugly list maybe for you, but you can clear it and see only your processes very easily. So let me start any one. So I am a policymaker, sit on my desk, and I'm going to start an evaluation on our process and try to have a policy decision at the end. Okay, if I click create, it will create me an instance of this process. My policy name is the planning of the structural measure for the flood risk reduction, the retarding basin of Caldonio installation. My process name is retarding basin 2, as you remember. I have just created this task, and I can also easily see that there are 8 different steps of this task in different phases. 3 of them are in inform, 3 of them are in advice stage, and then I will decide accordingly by getting all these advices and start to monitor and evaluate my system. So right now, it also shows me the active task. Right now, I am in the active task. My active task is to get information about our flood risk and hazard. So I would like to get historical information, first of all, regarding the floods in our area and their locations and how we are affected. So I am one of the policymakers, and I am clicking show to see this. So this task detail, we call it task detail screen, briefly explains you what you should be doing. You see the policy name, you see who created it, when it is created, the policy. For example, this policy has been created in July. So, but my process, I have recently created it a couple of minutes ago. Its name, its phase, and what the policymaker needs to do. It also gives you a full picture of the process. So there are 5 steps: inform, advise, monitor, evaluate, and revise, which we call IAMER. And these 8 blue boxes, one of them is red, are tasks, and they're distributed into different steps of the process. This is already being done using the process design tools, our process modeling environment, and the designer has already created everything for us. So it says that my first task, which is the red one, is getting overview of flood risk information. So here, a detailed information area shown to me as a policymaker. It guides me actually. The first task after starting process is getting an overview. So I would like to get an overview of the hazard risks. It shows me risk classes, risk groups for different risks, and also intensity of the hazards for a risk map. So first of all, to understand the terminology and methodology and what different risk groups means, then I will go for the different risk groups for me. So the system is allowing me to understand the risks and hazards that I will show quickly, the social effects of it, economic effects, cultural facilities, demographics of the region, and technical regional map. So first of all, I would like to get information about the risk and the hazard. Legend first. And then the map is being loaded in the backend for me. So I will see 30 years, 100 years, and 300 years of ante and post analysis actually for hazards and map. This shows me, which I can zoom quickly, the previous effects on the map for hazards for different time periods and for different intensity of hazard. Remember the terminology here: low hazard, medium hazard, and high hazard. And the policymaker easily gets an understanding about the previous effects of floods and risk maps and hazard maps on the area. Okay. Then I may check also from social perspective, getting an overview information. Where are schools? Where are rail networks? Where is the city center for me? And mapped on the risk, which will allow me to easily identify whether for example, this point is maybe under risk. I can easily identify, or this part will not be under risk for me. So this allows me to do this stuff. From economic wise also, the policy can see different information for where are the commercial activities, where are the public buildings, this type of information. Demographics, culture. You can try from different perspective and get an understanding for the flood risk, for the hazard risk actually. This allows me to see the population groups, where elderly people are living, whether they are under risk or not for me within the city by interactive maps. Information about past floods. So when and which locations I had flood information. All these stuff. If you have GIS data, over GIS. If you have listed data from lists. I know if you have sensors in your city, they can guide you also. Here in Vicenza, we do have lots of sensors from the hydrometeorological stations that we can allow us to understand and link the rainfall measurements with the flood risks easily and try to get information on top of them. So, and then also there is a specific flood forecast model being used in Vicenza for these purposes, which is called Amico. The policymaker can also at the end have the simulation outcomes for this area. So I got lots of information regarding flood risks in this area. Then I would like to move into my second step and to obtain information about the flood management plan. Okay. So from data-wise, I have seen hundreds of different data sets and try to get an information about it. Still, I need more information about our strategic plan for the flood management area. So how we are applying floods. So here you can check and see the PDF created by the city and some links to understand the models that have been already created regarding the plans of the city. Then policymaker will go and analyze different plans for them through the existing created PDFs and websites, and then move for the next step. The next step is getting information about the basin. So we are discussing to build this basin of Caldonio, but let me have more information about this area, whether its location, its purpose, objectives, active development status, and cost information through different areas. Either you can have a PDF information regarding the basin, where it is located, and some analysis on top of it, or you can have text and information and figures for those. So I got past information regarding floods, I got information regarding our city plans, I got information about the basin, and then now I would like to get some advice regarding the economic impact of it, regarding the social outcomes, regarding the environmental risks that may be created with this basin. For that purpose, one by one, we go for the assessment of the impact on the flood risk. First of all, the flood risk assessment. So risk maps for 30 years of and post period. So how my city is affected or may be affected, considering the economic value, considering the historical value, considering my citizens, considering the nature. One by one we will see. So the risk map is being loaded in the backend. The base map has already been loaded, and several different data sets right now being overlaid onto, is going to be overlaid onto our platform, which will allow us to have analysis on top of it. For analyzing our data sets, either you can use your maps, either you can use some filtering areas, or either you can try to see and filter your data by name. Okay. So first we have checked from the flood risk perspective. Second thing that I would like to do is, number 5, is to understand economic and social assets. I'm moving for the next step as a policymaker. And within this advice phase, it shows me where I am under my process and allows me to get insight, allows me to get assessment of the impact for the economic and social assets. Right now, my economic assets like buildings, commercial activities, networks, and also, other facilities are brought in front of me, and I will be able to analyze the outcomes by comparing it with the hazard map, by comparing it to the risk map also. This is before, the left side is before the implementation measure, the right side is risk simulations after the implementation measure. So as it is bringing so many data sets on the same map, we are waiting the data to be loaded. This system allows also you to share your insight among different user groups. So this step can be done by one policymaker, and the next environmental analysis can be done by another policymaker, which is responsible from the environmental side. So I can write here, please check specifically risks. So this allows to share this know-how, this history of decision-making processes with other users also, and it keeps records of you for those reviews. So right now within this environment, we see hazard maps for before the implementation and after the implementation period, and try to understand whether this area is linked or overlaying with public buildings, whether it may create a risk for our rail network or not. Even you can create geometrical areas, polygons, and try to zoom into different try to see your data is filtered for all these different. If you want to delve into a specific area and to analyze your assessment results. It will filter by geometry, right now having geometrical calculations on the maps and allows you to bring out the data. Okay, this tasks sometimes takes too much time for policymakers because they will be designing and deciding for large-scale changes here within this process. For a construction of a retarding basin, for example, may take so long time and may cost a lot for the city, not only from the economic measures, for other measures also, including the social ones. So this has to be done clearly, and the results have to be reported accordingly. Okay, right now I'm going to stop this geometrical analysis and move to the next step. The next step is having advice from the social sentiment perspective. So after having all these advices and information regarding the basin, regarding the flood risks, and regarding the economic, social, and environmental impacts, so as a policymaker, I will put my decision whether to go for it or not, or change some of the parameters, and then decide accordingly. This Twitter data analysis is also automatically linked with Twitter and allows us to understand what is being discussed in Twitter for our region, for different keywords, for Vicenza, for different parts of the area, and on map, on the counts of it, and it allows us to filter out data accordingly to our city and to see when people are discussing Vicenza and our flood protection measures during the timeline, and also their content. So here you see the previous comment that have been prepared within the previous step. So then it allows me to decide. Remember, let me remind you our business process. Again, we have 1, 2, 3 was informed, we got information. 4, 5, 6 was getting assessment advice. And then here we need to decide whether we are happy or not. If you're not happy, we can go back and check again several times. So we would like to revise our policy measures. Yes, then as you see, it took us number 3 again. Okay, as it is seen here. Right now we are number 3, and we would like to recheck everything again. So I'm moving these steps quickly right now. We will go to number 4, assessing about flood. Then having assessment and impact analysis on economic and social assets. Then we will have querying social sentiment. Again, right now, I will change my decision. Okay, I'm happy with the measures, and I don't want to revise my policy measures. Now move on. So this will take me the finalized planning and also building the retarding of the basin. Those are tasks that are being done out of the platform manually. So this type of building things. Then it took me to the monitoring site. Right now, we have developed our basin and would like to monitor the impact we'd like to monitor the changes. So I do have several different data sets to be checked, starting from getting an overview information about what to check for the basin, sensor data sets, having reference sensors, meteorological sensors, hydrological sensor stations, where are they, and what sort of data I am getting out of through this change. So this needs to take months for a flood protection measure to see the effect on different floods, having weather forecasts, next 7 days forecasts, next day forecasts, precipitation analysis type of things. What Amico flood forecast model says me based on simulations in our legacy environment. How do I analyze these? How do you see my KPIs? How I compare sensor measurements and simulation results through the monitoring period. Policymakers checks all these parameters, and also from social sentiment analysis, they follow what is being discussed in Twitter regarding this area, whether they are positive or not, or what the people are talking for the last 2 years, or you can change it. I would like to see 2 months time. So update it for me. Then if there's nothing, you will see it empty. So with these approaches. And then after your monitoring period, you go for an evaluation. I have monitored my parameters. Then I need to evaluate my KPIs, whether the basin is successful or not, based on my KPI definitions, including the economic value, including the environmental impact, including the social acceptance parameters. So my evaluation will be done right after the monitoring period, after the implementation of the measures, and based on the KPIs that I have defined priorly for sensors, stations, whether do I have something exceeding my thresholds or not, comparing with historical values, comparing with our simulation data sets. I need to evaluate at the end whether my decision is successful or not, or shall I change something or not? Am I happy with our policy measures or not? If I say no, remember our satisfactory measures, you can go back or finalize your measures. This can be a continuous process depending on your policy. Actually, here for this flood protection has to go for a continuous process. You need to go back to the monitoring side actually and continue to monitor through the events. So I clicked yes and we came back to monitor. So either you can click no and to finalize this task. So this is how CUTLER is helping you by designing your policies as processes, as steps, as different tasks. How you integrate it under a business process management environment, how you link each task with your dashboards, your widgets, and how it is applied. So, but is this, so we have seen several detailed things. Is this designed or developed specifically for flood protection, or is this developed for only water-oriented policies? Actually, no. This is applicable for all sorts of policies today being developed and managed, and for all sorts of decisions under local authorities and public administrations. For example, another case in Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki is a seafront city, of course, but they do have different measures for the sea transport access, sea transport system, and also a controlled parking system, for example. Which is very linked with the city. Within this controlled parking system, the municipal policies already have different patrol routes. In Thessaloniki, there are different sectors in streets that you can call blue or white sectors. We consider blue ones are for the residents living there, that allows them to park their cars. The white ones are for the visitors, for allowing them to pay for their prices. And there is a huge police force in different sectors of the city that is given different zones for them. They go out and check these violations, actually illegal parks, and they scan them through their applications, through their mobile handheld sets, and find people if they do have illegal parking. For example, a visitor parked on the blue sector for the residence area, these type of things. But this is a complex problem, and this is a very resource inefficient, let's say, way of doing it. You may have intelligent solutions in order to design how many routes you may have, how many police forces you may have, and to design your operation accordingly. This is actually what Thessaloniki policymakers are doing. So they do have a very different process, as you may see here. And let's see quickly from a Thessaloniki end user perspective. So this is the Thessaloniki portal on cloud, different environment. First of all, I'm going to log in with, again, admin to show you all the features. As you see, there are all the features you hear. This system can be used in Greek, for example, this time. So you may have Greek applications here. I'm going to log in. Let me turn back to English. I'm going to log in as a Thessaloniki policymaker here. Okay. Right now. So here I only see my policies. There are 3 different policies in Thessaloniki. One for sea transport system, evaluating a new sea transport system or extending it, let's say. Optimal allocation of parking sectors and optimal patrol routes. Actually, I am interested in this one. There's a policy in our department, let's say, and I would like to optimize my patrol routes and have more efficient way of analyzing things. So as you see, this system is totally the same. I do have already defined processes here, the ones that I have shown you, this one. So I'm going to start a new process for this, for optimizing my patrol route, to show you how it can easily be done for a different scenario in your city. Okay, you see this is my process, 5-6 step process actually here, and 2 of them are manual tasks, 4 of them are interactive. First of all, I would like to get information for our controlled parking system. Then I will calculate my optimized patrol routes by analyzing several different issues in the system, and then implement my new suggestions on the patrol routes and monitor its effect. Monitor from economic wise whether this is a more economic operation or not compared to the previous one. Monitoring the environmental impacts, how many scans we did, how many routes we have done, monitoring the social acceptance and how many illegal scans we had compared to previous one. So you can easily identify this. Let's see quickly. The first task is getting an overview. As you see, this is a 4-step process, light and easier version compared to the flood protection. But all the measures are completely different. Problem is completely different. Process is completely different. But the system allows you to allocate all these things in the same manner and without any interactions for our cities. So on the map, you see Thessaloniki, different zones, right? So this is here we see education areas, cultural venues in different colors, the zoning plan actually for the city. This first of all allows me to get an overview, allows me to get a demographic analysis of the permits by age group. So this is a typical maybe for most of the cities, and let's say normally distributed one for Thessaloniki also, and which sectors are allowed for permits for the residents, for their gender distribution, and also some other maps analysis. So what I can have more information about the economic revenues. So we were talking about scans and illegal scans and illegal scans, and this brings out fines for people, some revenues for the city also. So I can easily understand and identify where I had legal scans and which this is Ignatius Street is a very popular street in Thessaloniki, where I do have legal scans and where are the illegal scan points, and the frequency of my scans in the timeline. And this gives insight for me whether I am effective or not, actually, in terms of our municipal operations, regarding the visitors' perspective and regarding the residents' perspective. We need to balance the social acceptance from both manners. So right after this, I can get more information about my past patrols and also for social data, and go for the second stage to understand my analysis. This is acceptable or not? Patrol rules performance acceptable or check my list. If it is acceptable, go back. Okay. If I click yes and come back to here. If I will click no, I will go for the calculate optimize patrols. I will do my analysis again and quickly click no to see how the operation is being done. We have moved to advice stage, and then I will get advice regarding the optimized patrol route assessments for the patrol lists, maps, for all of these, for a very different problem. And also I can use a specific external tool here. This is a patrol rule developed under the municipality, which allows me to get patrols for me, actually, and upload on top of it on our system. So you can link it with external tools also easily, even by just linking it through the platform. And then finalize your job. Then I have decided a solution, an optimized new patrol route, and I will start to monitor my illegal scans, my revenue, my performance for all of these, and then go for that and decide accordingly. Okay. If it is acceptable, I will click yes, and then. So as you see, this is the system allows you to manage different problems, different processes, different policies in the same environment in an easy approach, actually. So we have 5 different pilot cities and 5 different pilot cases. Thessaloniki, managing the controlled parking system near the waterfront area and sea transport system. Cork County, actually, for enabling visitor access to a very popular area, Camden Fort Mager, from the sea access perspective, from the car access perspective, and also bicycle paths perspective. In Antalya, Antalya has developed policies regarding the management of the Duden waterfall area, a very touristic, very popular area, in order to sustain the water level, actually, and make visitors happy, and also the ticket pricing policies. In Antwerp, Antwerp is working on the garden street designs, a very new approach, and this tool allows them to decide their policies accordingly. In Vicenza, we have seen in details the protection measures against the flood. So for these 5 cities, we have designed 10 different processes and developed over 400 different dashboards that have been easily linked and consumed within the same platform. So what does this platform? Briefly, it is applicable for all sorts of policy development processes in local governments, as you have seen, for very diversified range of policies already. So we are right now stopping intuition-based decision-making, intuition-based policy-making, and moving on to evidence-based one within this platform, allowing the cities to see their data, allowing the cities to decide accordingly, which will allow them to have better governance in their cities within a scalable, multi-tenant, multilingual cloud platform. This is a cloud platform where cities can easily integrate their legacy systems, and it's a scalable one. They can scale and shrink it, and it's a multi-tenant environment. You can deploy several cities in the same environment as well. Drag and drop and very easily clickable process design tools. Without coding, it's very easy to integrate with your legacy systems and under the platform components also. Supports several different languages, even right now, and it can be extensible quickly. It allows you to standardize, first of all, your business processes through business process modeling, BPM and notation, and allows you to integrate these processes, your systems, legacy systems and business process management solutions to policy making, to your dashboards without any coding. As you have seen, I haven't done any coding, done lots of technical stuff very easily within the platform. If you need to have more information, you may check deliverables on the CUTLER website, which allows you to show different perspectives. If you go for the 8.1s, you can get information about the platform in detailed states and also the updated platform values and several other aspects. And if you want to get more information about the architecture, again, you can check the website and have more insight on the architecture. Thank you for listening this quite long series of webinars. We hope that these were really valuable for you to understand how CUTLER can make you go for evidence-based policy-making processes using big data. Thanks a lot. For your questions, we'll be happy to answer. Please write your questions to the chat environment, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. The first question is, what was the most important technical challenge you faced when developing the platform? Actually, as you may have seen, we do have used several different technologies and several different platforms. And normally these platforms are not integrated. So BPM is quite complex problem in local governments to be integrated with legacy systems. The integration part was the most challenging part, but we have developed several different integrating adapters and components under CUTLER, which is the life of end users, designers, and policymakers to use the platform. The integration side was the most technical, challenging one. Cities may have different sorts of data sets, visualizations in their environments, either using big data, real-time data or not, or historical data. So that can be easily linked within this system using this approach. Actually, I can say there is no single product that allows you to integrate all your processes, all your dashboards, within the seamless approach and running on cloud and having multi-tenant environments, scalable environments, and using all these sorts of scalable components. We haven't seen everything together as integrated as in the CUTLER, but most important advantage, I can say, the seamless integration approach, first of all, cloud and scalability measures, and easy to use front end, I can say, because it is guiding the end users very easily and separating the roles and allowing the cities to design and implement their policies accordingly. So these are the important advantages that we see in the market. Actually, we can say we, as a company, we do have quite complex governance solutions for our cities. This will be an additional value on top of them that will allow us to design different processes and link them with existing tools and existing applications and existing visualizations. Okay, so I would like to thank you for listening all this. If you will have questions later on, you can reach us through our emails, through our websites. But we tried to showcase how CUTLER platform allows you to easily link your policies, allows you to design and implement your processes, and link all different steps of your processes with your existing dashboards and widgets in a seamless and easy manner, actually. So I would like to thank you a lot. So thank you for attending our webinar for all of us, for all of you, and keep safe, keep healthy.